Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Blue Ridge television broadcast of area high school basketball tonight from the Tiger Den at Mansfield High School. We start right in with a rivalry game as the North Penn Mansfield Tigers play host to the Wellsboro Hornets. And what may be a reoccurring theme for high school basketball on the girls' side this season, a lot of different teams are not fielding JV squads, and the varsity games are starting early. And that's exactly what the case is tonight. A sparse crowd for a Wellsboro North Penn game, that is for sure. But it's odd that the game's starting at 6, and also odd that you start right in Wellsboro's case, with their very first game of the season, a rivalry game against North Penn Mansfield. North Penn Mansfield already has one game in the books. They were defeated early on by Northern Potter last Friday night, 37-25. But we'll see what happens this evening. Both teams are lined up right now for the national anthem, so we'll take a pause as well for the playing of our national anthem. The national anthem being performed, and we're ready for the starting lineups. Wellsboro being their green away uniforms tonight for Coach Morris. Coaching change undergone there with John Davis now working at Mansfield University and doing a fine job with the Mansfield women's team. And Wellsboro's team being introduced, Chloe Brandenburg, point guard, and then Maddie Mascow also being introduced, playing at guard. The girl in the middle is going to be the key, and I think she is going to be having a huge year for Wellsboro, Paige Loxton. Paige, I believe, 6 feet tall, and it's going to be tough for a lot of teams in the NTL to match up with Paige Loxton. Ella Posada introduced as well, and Emily Richardson will be the 5th and final starter, and then the starting lineup for Mansfield coming up. And again, kind of just a weird setting for the game because you're used to whether it's a boys game or girls game. If it's Mansfield and it's Wellsboro, you've got a gym that's pretty well packed, and we have anything but that tonight. Probably the gym at best maybe a quarter filled, but hopefully that means our listening audience and viewing audience on Blue Ridge Cable Television, as well as the streaming side of things, is going to do quite well as involved. The starting lineup for Mansfield: Ella Swingle will be at guard. Addison Hill, who had a nice game, first time out against Northern Potter, also in the lineup, along with Cameron Leitner, McKenna Leitner, and Addie Fair. That'll be the Mansfield starting lineup. North Penn Mansfield with a game under wraps already. They were defeated 37-25 in their opening game of the year by Northern Potter. And that was the issue last year. North Penn Mansfield's biggest issue was scoring points. They scored 30 or less in well over half of their games last year. Defensively, they were playing well, but they were just challenged on the scoring. And that happened in the first game against Northern Potter as well. First possession goes to the Hornets. No surprise there with Paige Loxton jumping center. They try to work the ball inside, and that was batted away by Addison Hill. Posada to inbound the ball for the Hornets. Whistle there. And needing to give her a little more room. That's one thing about the Mansfield gym. There's not much room between the end line and the wall. And already that presenting a little bit of a problem. First shot missed. Second shot taken. That's by Moscow and misses that. And the ball tips out of bounds off of the hands of North Penn Mansfield's Cameron Leitner. Ella Posada to inbound the ball under the basket. Working it, again knocked out of bounds, and they'll inbound it for the 3rd time under the basket here in the first 30 seconds of the game. Posada again will try to work it in. They get into Moscow, but a little traveling music plays as she travels with the basketball. So the ball goes to the Tigers, and they'll have it for their first possession of the game. Ella Swingle had 13 points. She was the leading scorer. Mansfield lost their leading scorer from last year, Paige Chappell, to an injury, as she was injured at the end of the volleyball season. Not sure, I believe it was a broken ankle, whether she's going to be able to play at all this season or not. First foul of the game was called on Maddie Moscow. They work the ball back over to Addison Hill, and there's a turnover, and the ball goes back over to Wellsboro. So both teams, obviously, early season jitters. That's why it's surprising that Wellsboro and Mansfield playing as early as they are in the season. And for Wellsboro, it's their very first game of the season. Posada works it over to Brandenburg, back over to Posada. Mansfield look like they're in a 2-3 zone, and they're able to tick it away. They get the ball into the hands of Swingle. Swingle picked up at midcourt by Posada. picks up her dribble. Cameron Leitner driving in. And there's going to be a blocking foul on the Hornets. That'll be their second foul. And that's going to go on number 33, McKenna Leitner. Or excuse me, 33, Paige Loxton. First shot for Mansfield, off of the back iron from Ella Swingle, and it goes out of bounds, and the ball back in the hands of the Hornets. The green-clad Hornets to inbound it, and up quickly comes Chloe Brandenburg, working it over to Posada, getting it back to Brandenburg. Maddie Moscow with it. Three-point shot, grazes the front of the iron. That's no good, but Posada gets the offensive rebound. Works it back over to Brandenburg. The ball goes into Richardson. She can't make it. As shooting jitters on both sides, and there's a jump ball, and the ball goes over to the Tigers. North Penn Mansfield basketball. As both teams have to see who's going to break the ice first in this one. There's Posada off a steal, getting it to a run out to Paige Loxton, and Loxton gets the layup. First basket of the game, and for Wellsboro, the first basket of the season has been scored. Swingle driving into traffic, gets it back to Leitner. Back inside, nice move there. Good post-up move by Cameron Leitner, and she scores, and they tie the game at 2. Nice move there by Cameron Leitner. Good ball movement by the Lady Tigers on that possession. And there's a ball that's batted away nicely by Addie Fair. But Chloe Brandenburg quick with a block on her end, and then a jump ball as Swingle comes in there to tie up Brandenburg, but the alternate possession will give it to the Hornets. Wellsboro basketball, 5:16, first quarter. Glad you're with us. The first of many North Penn Mansfield High School games, boys and girls, this season on the Blue Ridge Network. Brandenburg gets the offensive rebound, and the officials spot a foul, the first one on the Tigers, and it looks like it's going to go against Addison Hill's first foul. First team foul, that'll send Brandenburg to the free throw line. Nothing but net for Brandenburg's first shot. Chloe played with her sister Emma last season, Emma graduating. Emma and Paige Loxton formed a great duo underneath. And Brandenburg hits them both. 4-2. Up into the front court come the Tigers. That misses. They following up with their own rebound is Addison Hill, but there's a turnover, and then kind of a frustration foul after that, after turning it over. And the foul is on Addison Hill, and that's her second foul already. Got to watch those frustration fouls after you turn the ball over. Your immediate instinct is to try to get it back, and a foul was committed there, and she's got 2 fouls, but no move from Coach Grove to make a lineup change there. Chloe Brandenburg slices and dices and goes right in. And it's quickly a 6-2 game, 30-second timeout taken. As Wellsboro has the 6-2 lead at this point. And again, 4:30 to play in the first quarter. The Tigers' issue has been just scoring. Defensively, they've been all right last year, but they just need to find a consistent scorer who can aid the offense. But that's obviously easier said than done. No lineup changes. Addison Hill remains in with the 2 fouls. And they really can't afford a third foul on her. Wellsboro now picking up the intensity with an all-court press, and that pass is airmailed by Swingle out of bounds, and it's a turnover to Wellsboro. So Wellsboro called that 30-second timeout, and I think Coach Morris felt this is the time for the all-court press to be put on. Maybe they can bust this game wide open. Knocks it away, though. Ella Swingle gets it back for Mansfield. McKenna Leitner back over to Swingle. Ella scored 13 in the loss to Northern Potter, moving it into Hill. Jump shot, back glass and in. McKenna Leitner uses the glass. The bank open for a Tuesday night deposit. And it's 6-4. Moscow back over to Brandenburg. Posada tied up, working it over to Richardson. Knocked away by Hill. And North Penn Mansfield with Addie Fair driving down. Addison Fair works it over to Swingle. Long three-pointer. Back rim's no good. Loxton clears it away for the Hornets. Wellsboro running. And the ball stolen away by Swingle. And North Penn Mansfield looks to tie the game or even take the lead. Leitner tries to work it over to Hill, and that ball goes out of bounds, ticking it off the hands of Emily Richardson out of bounds. And the first substitution in the game. Haley Kerr comes in for the Hornets. Haley Kerr now in for Wellsboro. Swingle makes the move, gets cut off. Shot from the rim, or from the elbow, no good. And a jump ball. This one stays with North Penn Mansfield. Cameron Leitner had a good look at the basket, just couldn't get the shot to fall. Had a good look from the elbow there. Couldn't quite get the ball to fall. Jump shot there from the top of the key goes in. So North Penn Mansfield answers with an Addie Fair basket, and it's 6-6. Tigers tying the Hornets up here. Brandenburg over to Posada as they work it around. There's a shot that misses everything from Kerr, who just came in the game. And North Penn Mansfield almost loses the ball there, and they do, as Ella Swingle wasn't looking for that pass, and it ricocheted off of her. And then Leitner tried to save it and was not able to do so. They work it back to Kerr. She misses it, but cleaning up the play was 33 Paige Loxton. Loxton with 4 now. I'm sure Wellsboro will be working throughout the game to get the ball over to Loxton with her height advantage that she has on any of the Tiger players. Jump shot by Hill doesn't go. McKenna Leitner tapped it, but Wellsboro steals it. And Brandenburg racing it down court. Loxton looked to move in, but she was cut off nicely by Addie Fair. Addison made the nice play there. Brandenburg from the wing, and that's a three-point basket. Chloe Brandenburg, the first three-pointer of the game. And after Mansfield tied it at 6, Wellsboro now races out to an 11-6 lead. That's their biggest of the game. Long three-point shot by Swingle. Bangs off the backboard, no good. And here comes Wellsboro again on a 5-0 run. Kerr tries to follow it up. Kerr follows up the miss, and North Penn Mansfield quickly calls timeout as Haley Kerr running the court followed up that miss, and after back-to-back baskets tie this at 6, Wellsboro's gotten serious, and they've run off 7 straight points to take a 13-6 lead. Good timeout there taken by Coach Grove to try to settle things down for the Tigers as they try to keep it close here. in the early going. Our first broadcast of the season here on the Blue Ridge Cable Network, and it's the first of 20-some broadcasts that we'll have for you this season of North Penn Mansfield basketball, both the boys and the girls. And we have 3 more games to go this week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. All week we'll be with you here on the Blue Ridge Cable Network. Here's Swingle. Leitner triple teamed right now, and they're going to call a foul. They could pick anyone they wanted to on that foul, but they are going to call it on Paige Loxton. Or excuse me, they called it on 3, not 33, Chloe Brandenburg. Brandenburg's first, team's third. Swingle looks to get it in. Back over to Cameron Leitner. Over to Fair. Gets it over to Addison Hill, and she travels with it and turns it over. Brandenburg into the front court. Back over to Posada. 34 seconds to go. No shot clock in PIAA basketball. Will Wellsboro hold for the last shot? Well, maybe holding for the last shot would have been the smart idea, because they sail that pass right out of bounds, and North Penn Mansfield might find their way to the last shot of the first quarter. Swingle picked up at half court now by Posada. They pull off the all-court press on this possession. Working it around the perimeter to Leitner. Back over to Fair, to Swingle. 4 seconds, they got to go now. And they're not going to get the shot off. They waited too long to move in to try to get that shot. So the score at the end of the first quarter is 13-6 in favor of Wellsboro. Wellsboro on a 7-0 run after North Penn Mansfield had tied it at 6 apiece. And once again, we want to remind you that we will have the same promotion that we had last year for the Blue Ridge listening audience and anyone on the streaming service as well. Your area Mansfield Pizza Hut, ready, willing, and able, and they'd love to see you. And if the North Penn Mansfield girls come back and win this game tonight, you just go in tomorrow to the Mansfield Pizza Hut and you simply say, Mansfield won, I saw it on Blue Ridge, or I saw it on the streaming service, and you're going to get 20% off your dine-in and carry-out orders. Compliments of your Mansfield Pizza Hut, and we're going to expand that when we get to the boys' game tomorrow night to include everyone who's in attendance at the game and getting 20% off if they're victorious tomorrow night, as they have a rivalry game right off the bat with Liberty. And there's some steps taken there as Olivia Chilson now into the game for the green-clad Hornets. Mansfield's got to hurry. Long court pass by Hill is intercepted by Logston. North Penn not having the depth that Wellsboro has, still yet to make a substitution. Brandenburg left alone again, and Chloe Brandenburg hits another three-pointer. She's already got 10 points, and Wellsboro has run off 10 straight. And the all-court press back on, and a timeout taken by Coach Grove, as it's obvious right now North Penn Mansfield, unfortunately, having trouble with that all-court press that Wellsboro's been putting on. Now, we're with you tonight at 6 o'clock, and this may be somewhat the norm for some of the girls' games this season, and it may be the norm. Our next girls' broadcast is Thursday night with Athens. Decision has not been made yet, but the bottom line is a lot of the schools having trouble fielding JV squads. And the decision in some of these games is to play the varsity games first when it comes to the girls. And that's what they're doing tonight. In fact, I'm not even sure if there is a JV game after this one. Because apparently JV squads around the NTL somewhat suspect, as they are in a lot of places with smaller numbers where you need to bring people up to the varsity to fill out the varsity rosters. Personal foul on Brandenburg. That is her second foul. So she's the first player in the game with 2 fouls for Wellsboro. Addison Hill has 2 for Mansfield. Swingle works it into Addison Hill. Mansfield in a bit of a scoring drought right now. They look to get out of it here. Hill being played tightly by Posada. Getting it back over to Swingle. Swingle picks up her dribble. Working it down low. Hill tries to go up with it. And then she's wrestled to the ground. Or the basketball wrestled to the ground very nicely by Olivia Chilson to cause a tie-up for a jump ball. Nice play by Olivia Chilson, who's coming off the bench. Swingle's going to put up a 3. That grazes the iron, no good. Addison Fair came down with a rebound. Another possession for the Tigers as they try to get their ship righted here. Brandenburg with her 2 fouls, though, back on the court quickly for Coach Morris, replacing Chilson. 6:37 to go, first half. 10-0 run for Wellsboro. And that ball just slips through the hands of Fair and out of bounds. And Wellsboro says thank you very much, and they'll take the ball back. Posada. Over to Richardson, working it into Loxton, and Paige Loxton. If they can work it in that way to the 6-foot center, that play will not fail all night long. They just have the size advantage if they're able to make that entry pass, which they were in that situation. Swingle, let's go for 3. And Ella Swingle, nothing but net, and that breaks the scoring drought. It was basically a 12-0 run that the Hornets were on. And now a sideline violation turns it over, and Mansfield will get the ball back. As they'll try to get Ella Swingle hot if they can. She nailed the last 3, and there's a bad foul there on Posada. And that is now the 5th team foul on the Hornets. They count out the signal there. Working it over to Fair, back over to Hill. Cut off at the pass by Loxton was Leitner. Good ball movement as they try to work it into Leitner again. Leitner being played by Loxton. Height disadvantage for the Tigers. Pulling it back outside. Here's Swingle. Sliding over to the corner to take the basketball is Leitner, Cameron Leitner. And working it over to McKenna Leitner. As Mansfield, good ball movement, but does it result in a basket? No. Hill shot grazes iron, and that's all. And Wellsboro will get the ball back. Another substitution for Wellsboro as they bring in Molly Ingrick. Molly Ingrick now in the game. So Wellsboro has already used 8 players in the game, showing their depth. Coach Grove not with that luxury. Brandenburg puts up another 3, and Chloe Brandenburg's 3rd three-pointer of the game, and she has 13 points herself already. Driving down is Fair, picks up her dribble, Almost lost, but Swingle saves it. They work it into the corner, and now the Hornets jump in and get the jump ball, and this time the possession arrow belongs to Wellsboro. It'll be Wellsboro basketball as the Hornets sit with a 12-point lead, and they have the ball. Molly Ingrich's shot is off target. Tigers get the ball back. So again, we apologize for some of the uncertainty with the start times, but right now, I guess the JV games, a lot of them are in flux as far as A, if they'll have it, and B, if they'll play it after the varsity. Personal foul charged to number 23. And that's the first foul on Emily Richardson, 6th team foul. Wild shot there by Hill. Misses. Here comes Moscow, Maddie Moscow down court, and she turns it over. Good double team there by the Tigers, creating the turnover for Wellsboro. And it looks like the first sub for Mansfield will be waiting to come in. Maddie Fair. Posada fighting with Leitner for the ball. Hill puts another one up that misses everything. Showing some frustration there. And Madeline Fair, she's in the game now. That's the first sub for North Penn Mansfield in this 21-9 game. Posada kicks it over to Brandenburg. Steal by the Tigers. Swingle goes up, blocking foul. She can't get the 3-point shot. Can't convert the basket, but there will be a 2-shot foul coming up. And that's going to be the second foul on Posada. If there's any silver lining right now for the Tigers, it's that Wellsboro is starting to pick up the fouls. And it stands to reason they have been more aggressive on the defensive end. Nothing but net. First point goes for Swingle. She'll get one more foul shot. Trying to cut the lead down to 10. Misses a second shot. Logston with the rebound. Back over to Moscow. Back over to Posada. Works it with Chilson. Posada out the top of the key. Mansfield staying in their zone defense. Maddie Moscow back over to Chilson. A little give and go there. Back to Posada. Moscow being played by Maddie Fair. Posada, nice play there as 4 of the Wellsboro girls all touch the basketball in that possession. Great ball movement, and it results in the basket. And there's a jump ball caused by a nice defensive play by Emily Richardson. Alternate possession allows North Penn Mansfield to maintain control with Ellie Swingle passing it in. Leitner thought about shooting, doesn't. Swingle on the drive, and there's another Wellsboro foul. They're remaining aggressive, and now North Penn Mansfield, if they can convert foul shots, they can possibly work their way back into the game as Wellsboro now up to 18 fouls, and that's the second on Richardson. But they got to convert. Swingle for the first foul shot. Ella, she has 5 points on the game. The girls will be right back here in action Thursday. That's going to be a tough one, too. Athens will be in town. Coach Miller always has a top shelf squad. No more Candace Mysick, the 1,000-point scorer. She's now with the Mansfield Mountaineer women's program. But I'm sure Coach Miller will have a pretty representative squad for his Athens Wildcats. That's who North Penn Mansfield draws Thursday night. A game we'll have for you, I believe at 6 o'clock, but not positive. Shot taken there and converted by Maddie Moscow, her first basket of the game. 25-12, 1:21 to play. And there's another foul as Posada, with the 2 fouls, still remained aggressive. Tried for the steal, couldn't get it to go. And that's her 3rd personal foul. So Ella Posada will be riding the bench, I would assume, for the remainder of this quarter, if not part of the 3rd. Brandenburg comes in, and she has 2 fouls. So if North Penn Mansfield can get Wellsboro in foul trouble, or continue to get them in foul trouble, and make their foul shots, they could come back a bit here at the line. And Swingle does just that with the first free throw. Second shot coming for Swingle, perfect. Ella now with 8 points in the first half, and the lead's at 11. Moscow with the ball. Brandenburg's going to fire another 3, and there's Chloe Brandenburg. Her 4th three-pointer of the game. She has 16 points. And there's a steal by Maddie Moscow. Moscow looks to go coast to coast, and she steals it, and she's fouled. And in this case, the aggressiveness of Wellsboro pays off with another foul. And that foul's on Swingle, her first foul. And it sends Maddie Moscow to the line. Back rims that one, no good. Another shot coming. And that's good as well. 29-14. Wellsboro has the score doubled right now. Tied up is Leitner. Leitner tries to force her way through. The ball's stolen and a jump ball. Good play there as McKenna Leitner would not give up on that play. Wellsboro will get it on the alternate possession, but certainly good hustle by Leitner, following up her miss there. Sometimes it just creates an extra foul situation, but in this case, it pays off as Leitner was able to get the jump ball situation. Here's Moscow. They work it inside to Loxton. Loxton is cut off on the play, puts it up no good off the front of the rim. 21 seconds to go. And that pass goes back into the backcourt for a Wellsboro turnover. Backcourt violation. Rushing back into the game for the Hornets, Molly Ingrick, as they wanted to get Brandenburg out with her 2 fouls. They certainly did not want her to pick up a 3rd foul in the first half. Here's Swingle. Working it into Hill. Hill triple teamed, and there's another foul. Wellsboro just not backing off, willing to put Mansfield on the free throw line. And that is a foul on Maddie Moscow, her 2nd foul. And it's 2 shots now for Addison Hill. Doesn't go. Richardson has come back on. See what Hill does with her second shot. And Addison Hill now into the scoring column with her first point. 6.5 seconds to go. Coach Morris diagramming up a play. See what he has the girls do here. Moscow over to Loxton. 4 seconds to go. Page is going to stop. Works it back over for a shot at the buzzer that falls short from Olivia Chilson. And the first half has come to an end with a score of 29-15. In that quarter, Wellsboro scored 16 points. Mansfield scored 9, and it's 29-15 here at the half. We're going to stay with you here over the half, and tonight anyway, and talk to you about some other, give you a lot of the scores from over the weekend as the NTL season is up and running. And you can draw your own conclusion as to what some of the scores were in games that were played already. As we said, this is Wellsboro's girls' first game of the season. A lot of teams with 2-3 games in the books, and odd scheduling. Wellsboro's next game isn't until next Tuesday night when the Wellsboro girls are playing Northeast Bradford. So by next Tuesday, it'll only be game number 2 for the Hornets, but they'll have a busier schedule then as the season progresses. Although they're only scheduled for 20 games this season. NTL and the PIAA allows you to play 22, but right now perhaps they're still looking to get a game on the schedule, but right now they only have 20 games on the schedule. But speaking of games on the schedule, we did say that we're going to be with you all the rest of this week. Tomorrow we'll have our first look at Coach Burley and the Mansfield boys team, as they've got a rivalry game right off the bat too tomorrow. They're going to play North Penn Liberty. That game right now is scheduled to go off at the appointed time. We'll be on with our broadcast around 7 p.m. With the game to follow. Then on Thursday the 8th, tough matchup for Coach Grove and the girls on Thursday night, as Athens will be the opposition on Thursday. They're always a tough team to beat and to play. And then Friday night, we have another schedule change, not due to no JV team, but a team coming from far away. That's Northwest area in Shikshuni, Pennsylvania. Don't sleep on Northwest. They came in here and beat North Penn Mansfield boys easily last year, and they're undefeated this season as well. But that game is scheduled to start anytime after 7:30. So they asked for a later start, and we'll come on at 7:30, and depending on the length of the JV game, we'll be prepared to start at 7:30 or possibly 7:45. So different change in times all week long for you. 6 o'clock tonight, maybe 6 o'clock Thursday, 7 o'clock Wednesday, 7:30 Friday. And but we're just glad that we're on the air bringing you the games that you want, and we're going to be with you here at North Penn Mansfield throughout this basketball season for both the boys and the girls. But a lot of scores to go over with you as the season started on Friday in earnest for the boys and girls basketball. And looking at scores for the boys and the girls as far as, well, since we're doing the girls game tonight, looking at NTL teams in action in girls basketball on Friday night. North Penn Liberty got their girls season off to a nice start as they defeated Canton 44-34. Another game of interest, Towanda, who is the defending NTL champions 2 years running, they were beaten at home badly by Loyalsock 44-29. They have the player of the year, Paige McAllister, but Loyalsock must have a heck of a team this year. 44-29 was that score. Another very interesting score from Friday night, and this is not a misprint. The Williamson girls defeated Galton 45-2. So I have no idea if the Williamson defense was that strong, the Galton offense was that weak, but the final score in the game was Williamson 45, Galton 2. on Friday night. And the other game involving NTL teams other than North Penn Mansfield and Northern Potter, we gave you that score earlier, 37-25. Johnson City, New York, much bigger school, defeated Athens girls 55-37. Then in girls basketball on Saturday the 3rd, the Athens girls were beaten again 53-40. Again, New York School Union Springs beat them 53-40. It was Canton 43, Montgomery 27. Northeast Bradford girls, they defeated Millville 60-28. Bucktail, Williamson didn't hold them to 2 points. It was Bucktail 43, Williamson 35 in that game, and Addison defeated North Penn Liberty 34-27. And then last night in girls basketball, no teams in the NTL played a girls game last night. In boys basketball, giving you those scores from last Friday night, the Mansfield boys got off to a nice start, beating Berwick on Berwick's home court. Kipper Burley's squad is going to be good this season, and they started right out with a win 56-46 at Berwick on Friday night. Other games involving the NTL, no more Ty Barrett, no more Mason Imp, but Troy, they defeated Benton High School 80-29. So Coach Renzi still may have a lot of firepower left as they won their game by 61 points. Other NTL games. Not from Friday, but Saturday. North Penn, or I should say on Saturday night, featuring the boys. Not too many games there, but Wyalusing defeated Susquehanna High School 42-34. Towanda defeated Cowanesque Valley 61-34. Mansfield got beat in the final game of the Berwick tournament. East Stroudsburg South, that's a much bigger school. They're, I believe, a 4A school. They defeated North Penn Mansfield 59-54. So obviously North Penn Mansfield lost the game, but again, lost to a bigger school and played a good game. East Stroudsburg South took advantage of a cold third quarter and took that one at that point. And then last night, Wellsboro got on the board with their first game, and this is a good win for Wellsboro. They don't have Leah Manning, Drew Manning, and they don't have Darren Callahan anymore, but they went down and won at Montoursville 46-45. And Montoursville boys, always a tough team to play, and you had to beat them on their home court, and that's exactly what Wellsboro did, 46-45. So that's a look at the boys and girls NTL scores so far this season. Looking at tonight's game, both teams are back on the court for quarter number 3. First half scoring for North Penn Mansfield. Ella Swingle, Mansfield's leading scorer. She had 8. 2 points for Cameron Leitner. 2 points for McKenna Leitner. 2 points for Addison Fair. 1 point for Addison Hill. For Wellsboro, 3 points for Maddie Moscow, 6 points for Paige Loxton, 2 points for Ella Posada, 2 points for Haley Kerr, and 16 points in the first half for Chloe Brandenburg, including 4 3-point baskets. Players in the game in foul trouble. North Penn Mansfield only committed 2 fouls in the first half. They were both on Addison Hill. For Wellsboro, 2 fouls on Chloe Brandenburg, 2 on Maddie Moscow, 1 on Paige Loxton, 2 on Emily Richardson, and 3 fouls on Ella Posada. So Wellsboro in a bit of foul trouble, but they have a 14-point lead to cushion that foul trouble that they might be in. And again, as we get ready to start the second half, if there is a big Mansfield comeback, 20% off at your Mansfield Pizza Hut on any Mansfield victory. That offer is good the night of the game and all day and all night tomorrow. And that'll be working as well for all the boys' games this season as well. Compliments of your Mansfield area Pizza Hut. So North Penn Mansfield to inbound the basketball as we start the third quarter. Swingle working over to Leitner. The pass goes astray, but North Penn Mansfield digs it out. Fair's going to put one up and in. Addison Fair left alone at the top of the key, and it's 29-17 as North Penn Mansfield gets that first basket. Brandenburg gets it over to Loxton. Working it back to Brandenburg. She had the hot hand in the first half, but stepping in and getting the steal is McKenna Leitner. And here come your Tigers. Back over to Fair. Swingle works it into McKenna Leitner. Back over to Fair. That shot doesn't go. And the rebound fought for and stolen away by Leitner. They get the ball back. Leitner to Leitner. Cameron Leitner. Back over to Ellie Swingle. Back over to Fair. Working it back into McKenna. Back over to Fair, and that ball, too much English, comes in and out, but fighting for the rebound and getting it was Cameron Leitner, and she was fouled. And the personal foul is going to go against Moscow, and that is her third personal foul. So Wellsboro now with 2 players with 3 fouls. But North Penn Mansfield, if given the opportunity at the charity stripe, has to convert. Leitner misses the first shot. She'll look for a make on the second shot and won't get that either. Loxton gets the rebound, working it over to Brandenburg. Brandenburg over to Posada. Posada turned away by Swingle. Here goes Brandenburg cutting into the hoop. No good. Loxton right there to pick up the rebound and the basket. Page now has 8 as Brandenburg and Loxton have 24 of the 31 Wellsboro points. Imagine Wellsboro fans will be seeing that a good bit this season. There's a shot that just throws minimal iron and goes out of bounds by Swingle. And we have a jump ball here. That's got to be at least a dozen jump balls called tonight. But a well-officiated game this evening. And we have a message to relay to you at the first time out. It goes all the way down to Florida. Ball gets away, recovered by McKenna Leitner. Working it over to Cameron. Getting it back inside, cut off by Loxton. Leitner has to kick it back outside. Here's Fair. Underneath goes Addison Hill, works it out top of the key. Here goes Swingle, has to shoot it over the outstretched arms of Loxton. That forced her to change her shot and doesn't get it. Shot by Moscow, well short. Brandenburg tries to put it up, no good. And another jump ball called. Mr. Upham has that call. And this time on the alternate possession, it goes over to North Penn Mansfield. Tiger basketball. They try to work it into McKenna. Over to Fair, and Fair shot won't fall. Good move by Addison, but she just can't get the ball to go in. And a foul on the Tigers. Their second of the quarter. It goes on 33. McKenna Leitner, her first, team's first. And into the front court comes Chloe Brandenburg. Ball knocked away. Quickly want to give a shout out to Tim and Renee. Know they're watching tonight, and they're glad that high school basketball is back on the Blue Ridge Cable Network. And we're glad to have you guys watching once again with us on the Blue Ridge Cable Network. And through the middle of February, we'll keep you busy with North Penn Mansfield High School basketball. Another jump ball is called. And Coach Grove does all the work here as she chases down to pick up the basketball. Jump shot comes off the rim by Moscow. And it circles out of bounds. And the ball remains with the Hornets. Not a lot of scoring to give you right now. And Brandenburg driving the baseline, bounced the ball off the baseline. So working the ball over to Swingle, gets it back over to Leitner. Leitner cut off by Logston, over to Fair. Addy can't hit that one, and Leitner fights for the rebound. And she was hacked and whacked, and it'll be a North Penn Mansfield foul. Foul on Swingle, that's her second personal foul. Three-point shot taken by Posada, does not go. And it looks like we have a Wellsboro foul as we're not getting much scoring right now, but we're getting a lot of fouls. And Maddie Moscow picks up her fourth personal foul. Fourth personal foul on Moscow. Working it into Leitner, can't get it to go, and there's another Wellsboro foul as Addison Fair goes up for the shot. And again, if North Penn Mansfield had any rally in them, they've got the Hornets in foul trouble, but North Penn Mansfield needs to convert on the foul line. Right now, the Tigers only have 2 points this quarter. And Wellsboro has 2 points. It hasn't been a scorching quarter of basketball. Addie Fair gets the first shot to fall. Addison's second shot coming. And she swishes that one. Nice basket there by Fair. Brandenburg crossing the timeline, back over to Posada. Over to Brandenburg. And there's a full timeout by Coach Morris, as he's obviously a little bit concerned that the Hornets scoring has kind of dissipated dramatically here in the third quarter, as they've been held to 2 points by the Mansfield Tigers. For North Penn Mansfield, Ella Swingle has 8 points and Addie Fair has 4. 2 for McKenna Leitner, 2 for Cameron Leitner, and 1 for Addison Hill. Chloe Brandenburg still the leading scorer. She's got 16 for Wellsboro. Paige Loxton 8. Maddie Moscow 3. 2 for Ella Posada, 2 for Haley Kerr. And again, we want to give a shout out. We know Mr. Tom Freeman. Tom, hopefully you're watching from Florida tonight, and we're glad to have you with us through the streaming service and through Blue Ridge. Tom will try to do you proud. And also, Tom, got this message to pass on to you from the officiating crew, and this came from the officiating crew. The Cummings guy is doing well. That was the message to be relayed to you. The Cummings guy is doing well. And the officials doing well themselves, because it's a job where we can always use more officials in the NTL. We talk about that each year. Anybody who might be interested in being an official, just go to the athletic director at the school in your area, and it does not take a lot to get certified by the PIAA, and then you can help these youngsters in making sure all the games are played at the appropriate time, as so many of these officials doing game after game, night after night, some doing JV and varsity the same night, and this after holding down regular jobs all day long. So, no, it's a challenge for the officials, and if you have any interest at all, pays a nice little buck, and you can get in on becoming a NTL official without a lot of fanfare. Just go to your local school's guidance office. Here's Brandenburg. Brandenburg works it across to Posada, working it over to Richardson. Here's Chloe Brandenburg. She misses that shot. Fighting for the rebound is Kerr, and that's going to be another, guess what, jump ball. As McKenna Leitner did a nice job in tying up picking up the dribble was Swingle. Back over to Fair. And taking a tumble there as McKenna Fair, and that's going to be a foul on Logston. She inadvertently did knock Fair to the ground. The second foul on Logston, fourth team foul. Again, it was 29-15 at the half. It's 31-19 now. Four points for North Penn Mansfield, 2 for Wellsboro this quarter. Logston goes up with her shot. That misses, but she was fouled on the play, and she'll go to the free throw line, as this foul's probably going to be on Fair. If it is, it's her first, team's third. Tomorrow night, Mansfield boys, Kipper Burley's squad in action. 1-1 on the season as they'll take on Liberty. Logston shot goes off of the front iron, no good. They'll get a second shot. Page at the line. Second shot is up. And nothing but nylon. Logston now with 9 points. 32-19. Swingle goes all the way into the lane, cut off by Logston, works it over to Hill. Hill not looking for the shot there, and the ball's stolen away. Here goes Brandenburg, looking to go coast to coast, and she does. Chloe Brandenburg, 18 points now on the night. She's 1 point off of the North Penn Mansfield scoring. Shot by Swingle, no good. And another foul is going to be called. And that's going to be a foul on Cameron Leitner, her first foul, fourth team foul. Wellsboro to inbound the ball with a 15-point lead. Again, kind of just a weird setup that Mansfield-Wellsboro playing a rivalry game this early in the season. Game time moved to 6. Gym has filled up a little bit, but certainly the earlier start time impacting the size of the crowd this evening. And there's a foul on the Hornets as Swingle drives to the basket. We've said that a good bit. Fouls have been somewhat abundant tonight. Foul on Shilson, her first. Swingle at the line. Misses the first shot. Mansfield started out fairly well at the foul line, but they've tailed off in efficiency here over the past quarter and a half. Swingle does hit the second one, though. 9 points for Ella. 6 points for Fair. They're the leading scorers. 14-point Wellsboro lead, and some miscommunication there between Posada and Richardson. Remember, it's the first game of the year for the Hornets, so miscues like that certainly not uncommon and to be expected. But can Mansfield take advantage of that unforced error? Here's Swingle in the corner, gets it out to Hill. Hill to Fair. Fair shot. Oh, that's the second one that she's had go in and out. Putting a little bit too much English on that shot was Addison Fair. That just spun in and out. Mansfield maintains possession, working it over. Jump shot taken by Addison Fair, and Addison hits the three-pointer. And Wellsboro's lead down to 11 on the three-point basket. Fair and Swingle now with 19 of the 23 points. They get it over to Richardson. Fair tries for the steal, works it inside to Chilson. Her shot does not go. And North Penn Mansfield with 5.8 seconds. They have a shot to get this under 10 points. 5 seconds to go. They got to show some urgency. Fair is going to put it up. It'll be short. And that's the end of the third quarter after 3 periods of play. Wellsboro 34, North Penn Mansfield 23. 9 points in that quarter for the Hornets. 8 points for the Tigers. So it's 34-23. No, I beg your pardon. Wellsboro had only 5 points in the quarter. North Penn Mansfield had 8, so Wellsboro held to only 5 points. They had 29 at halftime, 34 after 3. North Penn Mansfield with 8 in that quarter, so they cut into the lead a little bit, but they're going to have to do more damage here in the fourth quarter, and they'll probably have to do some of that damage from the foul line. Wellsboro has some foul trouble right now. 3 fouls on Posada and 4 on Maddie Moscow. 2 on Brandenburg, 2 on Logston, 1 on Kerr, and 1 on Chilson. For Mansfield, 2 on Swingle, 2 on Hill, 1 each for McKenna and Cameron Leitner, and 1 for Addie Fair. Wellsboro has 4 of their 5 starters out there. Olivia Chilson, the 1 bench player, out there now. And there's a nice shot by Emily Posada for her second basket of the game. And Wellsboro gets the lead out to 13. Largest lead tonight's been 15. And it's been pretty much played in the 10 to 12 point range for a good bit of the second quarter on. Jump ball there. McKenna Fair gets it over to Swingle. Works it over to McKenna Leitner. Swingle takes it to the far side of the court. Knocked out of bounds. Good defensive play by Moscow. Swingle again, back out front. Getting it over to Addison Fair, who's had a hot third quarter. She's going to try a 3, and the bank is open for an Addison Fair trifecta. Her second of the game, and she's got 12 points, the lead at 10. Loxton works it over. Shot by Moscow. That misses. Rebound, though, kept by Wellsboro. Nice rebound by Chilson, and then Swingle able to tap it away out of bounds. So North Penn Mansfield not going quietly here. They've cut it down to 10. And with still 6:44 to play, there's a shot that's no good. Loxton uses her size, but can't get it to go. But Brandenburg gets the rebound. Behind the back pass to Loxton. That was pretty. Chloe Brandenburg behind the back to Paige Loxton, who lays it up and in. Lead back to 12 as the Hornet bench yelling, defense, defense. Addison Fair can't get that to go. And jump ball there. And it'll be a turnover, though, because Wellsboro will get possession. But Addison Fair with 12 points in the game, as she has now become the leading scorer in the game for the Tigers tonight. Kicking it back over to Posada. Posada's shot grazes iron, no good. Loxton rebounds it, no good. Using her size advantage, and now there's a whistle. And it's going to be a turnover, so the ball goes back over to the Tigers on a travel call. Ball knocked away. Leitner tried to go underneath. And the ball goes out of bounds. In the game now is Richardson back in for Coach Morris, as looking for his first coaching victory in his first game. Nice spin move there by Chilson, but the Mansfield defense stops the play as McKenna Leitner comes up strong. Swingle driving in, but cut off by, it looked like Moscow. And she may have picked up the foul, or it could be on Chilson, one or the other. It is on Chilson, that's her second. If it was on Moscow, she would have been disqualified from game competition. She already has 4. Getting it outside, they work it into Swingle. Swingle back over to Leitner. McKenna's shot off the glass, no good. And here comes Wellsboro. Brandenburg with a full head of steam. She goes up, she scores, and she's fouled. A definite pro-Wellsboro crowd here in Mansfield tonight. Foul charge there to McKenna Leitner. And Chloe Brandenburg, gotta believe this is her high ever, because she's sitting there right now with 21 points on the evening. And there's a steal by Moscow. And there's a foul on Thayer, kind of one of those frustration fouls after you lose the basketball. You try to overcompensate, get that steal on the other end, and a lot of times that doesn't work, and you wind up with the foul. 6th team foul. Timeout taken by the Hornets on that one, as they sit with a 15-point lead. 4:54 left to play. Wellsboro off again until next Tuesday, and their next game will be a game with Northeast Bradford. Looks like that's their first home game for North Penn Mansfield. They're going to be right back in action Thursday night with the Athens Wildcats, and then they go to Kawaneski Valley for a not a double header, but a game on Friday and Saturday as they're in the Kawaneski Valley tournament. And then they play at Williamson on the 13th. So they'll have 4 games in the same span where Wellsboro will have 1 game. As they'll be playing Athens, 2 in the CV tournament at Williamson, while Wellsboro only has that game with Northeast Bradford. But Wellsboro will get some more games added in there a little bit later. But they have a 20-game schedule, not the 22-game schedule that they are eligible to play. But there could be a game or two possibly that hasn't been finalized yet. Missed shot there. Swingle gets it over to Fair. Fair gets it over to Hill. And Addison Hill converts the loose ball into the basket. 41-28. Swingle gets the steal, but there's a jump ball, and the possession arrow belongs to Wellsboro. Hornet basketball. Ella Posada back in. She's got 3 personal fouls, but with only 4:23 to go and you're in a 13-point game, fouls not as important an item as they would be otherwise. Knocking it away is Leitner. Gets it over to Swingle, gets it over to Fair. Fair can't convert the layup, but Mansfield maintains control. Driving in is Leitner, and she's fouled on the play. Cameron Leitner is fouled, and we'll go to the free throw line. And that's the 3rd personal foul on the Hornets. Olivia Chilson. First foul shot coming for Cameron Leitner. That does not go on the 1-and-1, but Hill gets the rebound. Getting it back to Swingle. Swingle off the back glass, doesn't go. Hill again with the rebound. Gets it to Fair, that won't go. And this time, Moscow says enough is enough, as Wellsboro will get the basketball. Haley Kerr checks in. His time ticking away. And there's a pass right to Tom Dickinson at the scorer's table. And when I see Tom off the tell him, he flinched. He flinched on that one. There's that pass sailed right out of bounds. Here's Fair. Working it back to Swingle. Shot there blocked by Kerr. And Wellsboro comes down with a rebound. Logston gets it down, but the pass intended for Kerr goes sailing out of bounds. 41-28 the score. Hornet basketball. Chilson. Back over to Leitner. Fair puts it up. Nothing but net. Addison Fair, 14. And I believe that is her career high, as Addison has gotten 14 points tonight and is North Penn Mansfield's leading scorer. And they're going to force Wellsboro to use another timeout with 2:46 to go as the Tigers nipping away and staying within shouting distance. And one thing that's got to please Coach Grove is, 30 points isn't a lot, but there were so many games last year that the Tigers were held to under 30, as they were in the opening game, and looking for a second score to complement Ella Swingle, and they may have found her in Addison Fair. as they just look to find more scoring. Defensively, Paige Lockton looked like she could dominate tonight, but North Penn Mansfield's put a nice box and one on her, and she's had to work. She's got 11 points, but she's had to work hard to get those points tonight and to get the rebounds that she's gotten. So the defense, not an issue, and nor was it really last year for North Penn Mansfield. They'll give you the full 4 quarters of play. They will not quit on you. It's just they just got to find more scoring to complement their defensive effort. But, as I said, that can be easier said than done. And Mansfield's gone with their Iron Horse 5. They played pretty much all, 29 really of the 32 minutes that would comprise the 4 8-minute quarters. There have been quick subs, but for the most part, it's been the starting 5. There's a steal, ripping it right away. Here goes Swingle. She's cut off, though. Nice defensive play by one of the bench players for Wellsboro, Haley Kerr. Nice defensive play by Kerr. Shot by Swingle, partially blocked. Here comes Moscow down into the front court. Long pass for Posada. And another timeout taken by Wellsboro. Wellsboro really, I guess, just trying to use some of these timeouts as teachable moments because they do have the 11-point lead, but they're racing through their timeouts, as obviously they're not doing everything that Coach Morris was hoping that they would do. Another stoppage of play. So to inbound the ball, it's Posada. Right off the inbounds pass to Loxton. North Penn Mansfield went to sleep on that defense as Loxton had the easy layup. 43-30. Paige Loxton now has 13 points, and there's a pass that's too high for Hill. And with 2:07 to go, ball back in possession of the Hornets. And we'll see if they remain aggressive or if they're going to kind of just run some clock here. Posada to Brandon. I'm going to guess they'll probably want to keep running their offense since it is their first game, and that really, will help them out in the future rather than just protecting the lead. Foul there, and that's a foul to Cameron Leitner. That's her second, with Chloe Brandenburg, the offensive star of the game, at the free throw line. But that one misses, but Loxton fights for the rebound, misses the putback though, and North Penn Mansfield comes down with it in the final minute and 50 seconds. Swingle working the point, getting into Leitner. Cameron back over to Fair. Swingle puts that up, can't get that to fall. Ball goes out of bounds to the Hornets. And Wellsboro has possession. All court press by the Tigers. And Addison Fair just steamrolls Brandenburg. That was a rather obvious foul there. Brandenburg sent back to the free throw line for the 1-and-1. first shot rattles home for her 22nd point of the game. She has half of the Wellsboro points tonight, Chloe Brandenburg. The Wellsboro junior again will shoot another shot. And she'll make that one as well. (45-30), they get the lead back to 15, equals their largest. Fair shot doesn't go. And it goes out of bounds with 1:11 to play to North Penn Mansfield. Molly Ingrick again checks back in for the Hornets. They try to work the ball inside. Fair has it, puts it up her shot, and she's fouled. As fouls are not at a premium right now. They're being called right and left. And they're legitimate calls. They are fouls. And that foul's on Brandenburg. That's her third foul. And Fair goes to the free throw line, shooting 2. Front rims the first shot, no good. Moscow comes back in. Posada will leave. Second shot coming. And Fair hits that one. She's got 15 on the night. Here's Brandenburg to the front court. She dribbles it off her foot, but she's able to get it back. And there's, guess what? A jump ball. One of these games, we got to keep track of how many jump ball calls there are. But if they weren't calling the jump balls, they'd be calling a lot more turnovers and/or fouls. So jump balls, probably the safest option. Working it over to Hill. Addison Hill uses the glass to no avail. Fighting for the rebound is Paige Loxton. And they're going to say Paige was out of bounds. So 40 seconds to go. Ball inbound pass batted away, and we have a jump ball. And Hill will come out of the game right now. A new face on the court for Mansfield again. It's Maddie Fair. She played sparingly in the first half, in here for the winning seconds of half number 2. Logston steals that ball from a seated position. And coming back to break the play up is Addison Fair. Makes a nice play on the breakup too. Shot doesn't go. Into the front court comes Swingle. Swingle goes through several defenders, puts up a short shot, jump ball. And this jump ball goes to Wellsboro. Final 12 seconds. And Mansfield warned for not giving the inbounder the proper option to bring the ball in. They do get into Haley Kerr. Moscow moves up, and she's fouled on the play by Swingle. Mansfield playing the full 32 minutes as they commit the foul with just 6.6 seconds remaining. And that'll see if Maddie Moscow can add to her 3-point total for the game. Hannah Gilmore makes her first Wellsboro appearance, number 34. Moscow misses it. Ball dribbled into the corner. Final seconds are tipping off, but the ball goes out of bounds, not at the final horn, but with a half second remaining. And we'll see what they do. They'll just roll it in and bring this game to a conclusion. Final score tonight, Wellsboro 45 and North Penn Mansfield 31. Here are the final scoring totals in tonight's game. For the victorious Hornets, 3 points for Maddie Moscow, 13 points for Paige Loxton, 4 points for Ella Posada, 2 for Haley Kerr, and 23 points for the game's leading scorer, Chloe Brandenburg. For North Penn Mansfield, Ella Swingle had 9 points, Addison Fair 3, 2 for Cameron Leitner, 2 for McKenna Leitner, 15 for Addison Fair, as Addison is the high scorer tonight for North Penn Mansfield. That'll bring our game to a conclusion, our first broadcast of the season. But as I said, we're with you 3 more times this week alone. Tomorrow at 7 o'clock, we'll be on as North Penn Mansfield rivalry game with Liberty, the only sport that Liberty and Mansfield don't go to war together on. They'll be playing against each other tomorrow evening, as so many of those guys lining up side by side during game competition for football and other sports. But in basketball, Liberty and Mansfield separate entities, and they'll play tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, and we'll have it for you. So for everyone connected with Blue Ridge Communications, for Jason Fletcher doing the super job he did tonight, for Brian Cunningham, this is Chris Vaughn thanking you for allowing us to be a part of your sports viewing pleasure on this Tuesday evening. See you once again tomorrow. Good night.